Yep, today we're going to look at our Elvis Microcosmos. Is that who's doing this one? AKA Voltron. But we're not only doing that like I usually do, we're going to compare it to the Super Mini Pla. Maybe some others too, but spoiler, these lions are way better. So right off the bat, we're going to look at size here. And size-wise, these are really close to each other. The posability on these lions are quite a bit significantly better than the posability on the on these guys. Now, Voltron modes that may change up as far as what, because this mold was designed to be Voltron over the lions. So, and these have lots of parts forming, so there is a difference there. So the black lions are really equivalent to each other. We'll pull out one of the leg lions. Here's blue, and here's blue. Now these look pretty good in size. Now just from this pose right here and the weapons that are included, you can kind of see what's going on here as far as posability goes. The Super Mini Pla is really good posability wise. Now, this isn't bad on how it can pose. It has not really a lot of weapons and such going on, and it does have a waist in here, but these though, they're way better as the lions. It's just way better. And now this really bugs lots of people, and I know why, because that is kind of disturbing right there. But it's easily kind of to overlook. If you paint these with the silver, they look really good. Tails have about the same kind of flexibility, but lots of parts forming though when you're turning into Voltron, and sometimes that's really hard to get the silver pegs off of these ink caps on the yellow and blue lions. I don't know why I have a really hard time getting them off to turn them into the lions again, which whenever I turn it into either lion mode or Voltron mode, it usually stays that way for a long time before I change it back. But yeah, so now we're going to go to the arm lions, and those are a little bit different. We'll change up how we're doing it right here. We'll use the green on this side and the red on that one. Now, size-wise, there is definitely a difference in size. These are definitely a little bit elongated, but you know, I thought they were way different when I first got these things out of there, but their bodies are actually not that much different. Of course, the Voltron neck is locked in there. So the parts forming of these allows them to get their necks exchanged out. You're going to notice that the number 2 on my Elvis is actually number 2, just like it is on the actual Voltron stuff. And that's just a little trick with the screws. Those 2 screws right there under the arm, so you can pop that arm off. Remove those screws, and it gives you access. You can pull off this whole part right here, and it gives you access to the number that you can then swap around if you do the exact same thing on the green lion. Right there, those screws, screw, pop those screws out. Pop off that piece of plastic. There's a small red piece of plastic here and a small gray piece of plastic there. The gray piece can stay in place. You're going to pop off the red piece where the 3 and the 2 are and swap them around with each other. And you're going to get your correct numbers. So, anywho, we're going to pause this. And I think, well, before I go ahead and assemble it into Voltron, we're going to do this real quick. Hold on. Okay, so a real quick comparison here. Here's one of the other Super Mini Pla that I have. It's for the Power Ranger line with the Super Sentai. Yeah, with the size comparisons here. I thought that might be a neat little thing to show as far as how they will scale with each other. I feel like these should be bigger than what they are in comparison to these, but well, maybe not. The T-Rex is pretty big. Who knows? This might be accurate. I know Legendary Defender, the pilots were like tiny, and then on this show, the pilots were much bigger compared to the lions. So the lions were made larger on Legendary Defender. Oh, do I want to show that? Okay, so I decided to go ahead and pull this thing out since I had it. This is the Black Lion from Legendary Defender. The smaller metal one that Playmates released, like the diecast / plastic. Comparing it with the Super Mini Black Lion and with the Elvis Black Lion, that they are pretty close to each other. They are pretty similar in size. A lot closer than you would think from first impression. Like even from the top, like these two are definitely running in there close to each other. This guy is definitely coming in there pretty close. So there's a really close comparisons there. Definitely. Let's move these out of the way so that we can get to the next one. Here's the Red Lions in comparison with each other. So these are also really close. As far as, now, of course, this guy is the smallest of the lot. He's way closer in size to this, but with the extra neck, this one definitely has the advantage. And the joint right here in the center is bigger on this. The bigger parts forming legs that go on also make it quite a bit larger. The lion modes on these, I mean, they're all right. They're not great. They're okay. The Voltron mode is okay. The mouth won't stay open. They lock down the weapons. I moved and packed this thing in the box, and somehow the weapons didn't come with it. I'm not sure what happened with that. This right here, these lion forms are not as good as these lion forms, but these lion forms use a lot of part forming in. These lion forms are probably the worst ones out of all of them. And the lion forms are probably the best thing about this machine. I'll show you that in Voltron mode. It suffers from some of the same problems that the bigger Playmates Legendary Defender Voltron goes with, and which is kind of funny. It has the same kind of problems. So, well, it's a little bit better though. On the smaller scale, they hold up a little bit better, but it still has those problems. And here we go with yellow. We got the Mini Pla, we have the Elvis, and then we have the Legendary Defender. And of course, once again, the sizes on these, if you look at them, they are pretty darn close to each other. This one's not bad either. I'd say the leg lions are the best lions on Elvis as far as articulation and maneuverability. The leg lions are probably the best lions on Legendary Defender also. On Mini Pla, the leg lions are really good. The best lions are the arm lions. They can do like anything, and they look great. These are probably the second best on this. So if we want to look at some of the Power Ranger stuff, how it sizes in there, that's the Mini Pla for the Super Sentai. I mean, it's about roughly the same kind of leg size that you're looking at. I think the Legendary Defender is still going to be the tallest one out of the bunch once it gets formed into Voltron, but we'll look at that too. Yeah, I've got some issues with my phone camera wanting to reset the video if I let it sit too long. So I'm putting this guy out here, assembled. I'm trying to get the straight up and down. It's not quite where I want it to be. That's fine. But I'm going to go ahead and put him out here while I'm forming this other thing into Voltron. The parts forming is, like I said, it's pretty heinous on it. So I have to pop, legs off like I'm doing it right now. I'm just popping legs off. And this is what I was talking about as far as parts forming. Pop off all of those pieces, right? Put them off to the side here. And then I've got to pop off the head, like so. And that's what I'm left with, that I put other parts on to become Voltron. And I'll show that once I get to that in a second. But it's a good look. The lions are great with the parts forming, and the Voltron mode is pretty nice. And I've had some Gundam, not real grade, the high grade kits that are 1 to 144 scale, that are kind of in the same size as this thing when it's all together. And they like to come apart on me all the time. Like if you handle them and such, they really they enjoy it. They're like, yes, let's come apart. And I was a little bit weary about this thing because of that, because I wanted something that I could handle a little bit better. That's what I'm left with to make the arm out of. So it had me a little worried, beforehand. But I can say this thing stays together way, way better than the Gundams do. In both lion forms and in giant robot form. So that's super cool. Now, one of the big issues with the Legendary Defender that we've got here in the background is that his design makes it really weird to do all kinds of things with. Now, he's better than his Playmates counterpart, I think, because, well, he can stand, for example. The Playmates one is just so big and bulky, and the way it's set up, it likes to just fall over. It's hard for me to even get it to stand. And that's what I'm left with on the green line. I've already done blue and yellow. So it's just, but this guy has some metal in him, has some die cast, and I think it makes it easier for him to stand up. So that's cool. That's a cool thing about this particular one. I have like I said, the bigger Playmates one, and I've got the Playmates ones they'd made of the classic Voltron, and it just does a better job. It's weird how it does, but it does. It's hard to explain, but it just does a better job. I also have lots of other things I wanted to do with the channel here, but I have not got to do any of them yet with COVID and planning and things, and it's just hasn't worked out yet. Still working on it. So hopefully we'll have some other things besides these random videos every 6 months coming up on here. But fun stuff, entertaining things, exciting things, but we're just not there yet. I'm almost done parts forming my Voltron here. And I'll pop him in the screen once I get done with that, just so that it can be seen. I know people that are watching this will probably skip this part of the video, which is fine. You can skip ahead. It's okay. I understand. It's not going to hurt my feelings. So we've also got, here's the main lion portion when he is formed. Right there, right? And it looks like, you know, he might be pretty close in size to the Legendary Defender 1, but it's the legs are just way different in size and scale. So this is the parts forming I was talking about. I'm about to pull out these things and show. Here's my little baggie that has the red and blue lions in it. I'm going to put those out on the table and try not to lose any pieces. And it's kind of crazy, but here we go. So right off the bat, this is the bigger head. And in comparison, you've probably seen videos for this, but here's the other head. And there's definitely, I guess they're trying to make it more foot-ish so that it would be heavier and that it would stand better. And I think they accomplished that. I think it is heavier. I think it does stand better with that on there. You got different size caps down here for the legs. You've got some that are smaller than the other. I'm trying to figure out if I can figure out which size is which. I think those are the smaller ones right there, and those are bigger ones. Yeah, those are smaller. These are bigger. Okay, so then they just cap onto the side. If I can, pops on. A nightmare to take back off. So this guy will end up being Voltron for a long time now, which is fine. I'll leave him on the shelf as Voltron. Okay. So that's the look you get once it's done, though. And if you see one of those legs on there folded up, it is not clean, and they're just hanging out there. It's especially bad on the arm lines. So we've got a leg. We're gonna take red right off the bat. We're gonna pop the head on. Some people will leave that neck on there, but I really like the. See, you can see in the background the necks on the Legendary Defender. It looks weird to me. Maybe I'm just used to the neck things being the way they are, and I can't undo that the way the cartoon and such was when I was young, really young. See, I'm not so young anymore. I mean, I'm young enough. Okay, let's get this on here. I lost my voice a little bit during Christmas, so that was enjoyable. Okay, and there's the other arm that's done, that's completed. This video is already longer than I intended for it to be, by lots. I might pause it for a second to finish doing this, and hopefully it won't reset on me. as far as this sequence goes, it's the way you'd expect it to be, where the leg goes in, it's locked into place, it's mobile, it's got like, I think it's double jointed. Yeah, double jointed knees. Really nice. Okay, I'm gonna pop this in here. Boom. I think that's in there. Ooh, who knows? Okay, yeah, I think it's in there. I'm gonna flip them around here, these pegs here with the arms. Yeah, there we go. I can rotate them around to get that bicep swivel. He's got the extended joint that you can pop out, and it gets a little bit more arm motion right there. The look is better when it's popped in though. Okay, that's in place. Okay, and then we've got, there we go. And for just a second, we'll do the size on those right there. So as you can see, there's a little bit of a height disparity there between those two. And we'll be back after these messages. No, I don't know if there's messages or not. Yeah, taking a little longer than I thought to do this. I've never done the Elvis transformation before, so it's taking me just a second. Okay, so I've got this thing together, and this is the first time I've actually taken the lions and formed them into the main robot with this thing right here. And I gotta tell you, I really, really, really like this guy. Like, this guy is really, really cool. To try to take the camera and get some shots of that, but he is really, really cool. But just size comparison wise, and that's the whole reason why I made this video. He is slightly taller than the Super Mini Pla. Well, maybe can I put these legs together and make him more even? They're not quite hitting it. I almost don't want to move this guy back here in the background because he is massive. He likes to fall. That's why I don't want to move him. But so he's definitely taller than the Super Mini Pla. But I think in a display like situation, I think you could make this work the way these are. I think that's a thing that could happen where this would work out okay if you were displaying them. Not with the Legendary Defender. Well, it's built to be bigger, I know. The sword they give him out of the box is this sword right here. So it's got like a peg on the inside there. The peg is pretty small. Is it smaller than? I don't know if it is. Okay, so he's got a pretty small peg on here. I'm going to put the sword in real quick so we can take a look at that. Now, the sword is plastic, like what you'd expect it to be, okay? So it's just a plastic sword. So when I put this back in here with this plastic sword, and he's very flexible, by the way. There's lots of poses and such you can get into. But right now, we're just kind of like messing around with size. And this is what the sword looks like. Now, the sword for the Super Mini Pla, in my opinion, looks superior. And if the peg is right, I'm going to look at this real quick. The peg is definitely bigger on the other sword. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it around the other way and try to put it in his hand, just like, just let him hold it like without using the peg. And we've already messed that up. Okay. Let's see if we can get it to, man, you may almost have to take and like sand down the peg so that he doesn't use it, because he can hold it. I mean, he can hold it even with that peg there, technically. So when you put this other sword in his hand, I mean, it's pretty epic looking. Like, I'm just going to put it in here and show you how this sword looks. But this sword in this guy's hand is pretty nice. So if you have the Super Mini Pla, you may want to do some stealing there. Or buy you a second Mini Pla, sand the peg down, and let this guy hold this sword. Because the hands are pretty tight. They're holding that thing pretty easily. So, I mean, that sword is pretty epic in this guy's hand. Not to toot my own horn there, but that is pretty good looking swordage right there. I was thinking about trying to show with the Megazord from the Power Ranger stuff real quick, but there's some issues there. There's always issues with these things. And in case anyone wanted to see it, here's the Megazord in comparison to everything else that's here from the Super Mini Plot. So it's pretty tiny in comparison. So I don't know. That might work for you. That might not. I don't know what your scaling is on that, but yeah. So, and just in case this was coming up with anyone, also I'm gonna go ahead and slap this into here so we can take a look at it real quick. Since I've got it sitting right here. Also, this is the shield from the Super Mini Plot. So we've got a sword and a shield, which is actually a spinning razor blade, which was used never as a shield in the show, but they make it a shield on this all the time. And that's in comparison to what it comes with. I'll show you real quick. This is like I said, there's the vac metal is what it comes with. And they're not bad. They're stylized. They're not bad little weapons. I just, I really like those weapons. I just don't know what I'm going to do yet. I'll figure it out. Yeah, that's the end of my video. It was a lot longer than I intended for it to be, but I think I covered everything on these sizings and these comparisons. All right, thank you.